Thank you, brother. Is this mic working now, or do? Okay. I want to welcome you all here. I want to welcome those that are online. I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate your participation. For those that are in the Philippines, I know it is late, 11 o'clock at night there, and I am very, very thankful that the gospel is so important to you that you are involved in these meetings. I do have a few announcements that I want to go over here as we begin our business session. If you have not registered for conference yet, we need you to, and you need to fill out a form at the back registration desk. We'll go over the quorum stuff later whenever we get to that. But please make sure you pick up copies of the daily tidings. They'll either be back here on the back desk in the back, or they'll be in the gymnasium. I'm going to take a moment here because there's always been a real, I think I can okay to say, a division amongst us because of the elders conference, the elders, the ones that are voting, and instead of the whole membership. And I want to share with you, as I've been praying about that, because frankly, I'm the same way. In fact, I even talked to Paul Ludi about, from a historical standpoint, when did things change? I do think the time's going to come when we're going to have members to be able for conference. But here's the way the Lord shared with me that I would like to share with you. In a family, I don't know about your family, but I can say in my family and in the family I grew up in, there would be times that we would have family meetings. And my dad or myself, as the head of the family, we would talk to everybody. We would get input, and even as I was a kid, there would be times we would all talk about things, and then ultimately, Dad had to make a decision. And as a spiritual leader of our family. And I feel that that is how the Lord had expressed to me what was happening. He looks to us as elders as the ones that are going to be accountable. And there are times that we are going to have discussions. We're going to talk to other people. And over the last few years, we've tried to expand some things. We've got members' quorums, we got Aaronic quorums, and we want your input. And ultimately, the elders are going to make decisions. But we ask that you hold them up in prayer, that they are listening to the Lord's Spirit. I want to share with you a scripture, because this is another thing that was a concern some last year. But it's from the 25th section of the Doctrine and Covenants. There's only verse 1a and b. And it talks about the Colesville saints, but I don't think it's limited there. It says, "Behold, I say unto you," and I really want us to apply this to our week here, our time together. "I say unto you that you shall let your time be devoted to studying of the Scriptures and to preaching, and to the confirming of the church at Colesville, and to performing your labors on the land, such as is required, until after you shall go to the west to hold the next conference. And then it shall be made known unto you what you shall do. And all things shall be done by common consent in the church, by much prayer and faith, for all things you shall receive by faith." I am one that firmly believes in common consent. In fact, I believe that Satan's favorite numbers are 51, 49. And I will not. I'm letting you know right now. If I do not feel a common consent, we might vote no against something, that's fine. And there are times I ask, like last year, but can we consent to what's happening? Or do we need to talk some more and labor through this some more, or pray some more, or study some more? We're going to do whatever we need to do so that we can come together and be one. And I like what it said there, that he would let us know what we shall do. So, in my hopes as we begin our conference together, that we will recognize that we are here to do the Lord's work. And lastly, I want to share Brother Marlon Gwynn. I think a couple years ago he shared, what is it that we think we know so much that we are not willing to change? I've thought a lot about that. Those things that we want to hold on to so hard that we just have such an understanding of, there's no way we're going to let go of it. My desire is for each of us to lay everything at the Lord's feet. Regardless of what we thought we know, that we would lay it all at the Lord's feet and let Him give us the direction, and that we can all come to a common understanding. Sunday, I share this so that Jason can have this. Yesterday afternoon, we received council reports from the coordinating council. I'll get these for you, Jason, because the All Saints group, the Aaronic priesthood, the domestic outreach, the Education Council, Freedom Stewardship Ministries, the International Evangelism Council that was not here, but the report is in your book, Section 4. All of these reports are in your book, Section 4. The Women's Council, the Youth Council, ARM, the Mildred Smith Health Clinic, Jim, and Latin America, the Land Board was not here. And today we will receive a report from SEAM. So, first thing we want to do is organize the conference. I'll turn this over to Brother Larry.
Last year during conference, we elected Brian Monday as the chairman of the conference, and we need a sustaining vote that he would chair over the conference as we begin this week. All in favor of Brian Monday chairing? Raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? Brian?
We also have Jason as the secretary, and would just like a sustaining vote on that also. Those in favor of supporting Jason as the secretary? Any opposed? Okay. For those that are on Zoom, we have credentialed elders are also able to participate this week via Zoom. And there's also video for people to be able to watch and participate. And so we're going to both in our quorums be able to have outside participation as well as in our business sessions. Before you in section 1 should be the agenda, which is page 4 and 5 of section 1. The only thing I want to say here is that as best as possible, this is a guideline, the best guideline we could come up with. There may be changes from time to time that will be able to be modified from you, but I want you to know that we all want to listen to the Spirit, and if God directs us to do something different, I could care less what we've got written down. We want to do what God wants. And so the other thing is, and it might be a little bit different, we'll see what we need to do. But on Friday, we eliminated the afternoon quorum session and have a discussion period there, and we have a business session in the morning if needed. Part of that's going to depend on the evening worship that we have Thursday night, and if we need to make modifications to Friday, we'll modify whatever we have to do. But at this point, I would ask if there's a motion to approve the agenda for the week. Brother Jeremy and Brother Jay seconds it. Any discussion, any changes you'd like to make? You see anything you have concerns about? If not, those in favor of the agenda, please show your hands. Are there any opposed? Thank you. You go with me next to section 2 of your book. And by the way, okay, if you don't have a book, and some of you I know have a problem seeing where you're getting it logged in, are you able to see it now? You got it on your online? Okay. It is online now, so if you have problems seeing something, or if you want to get it online, it's on the website also. So your books and all the information are there. So under section 2, section 2, verse such and such. So page 2 of 10 on section 2 shows the first item there is our conference budget for last year. And then below that is our conference budget for this year. We have a $16,800 budget. We have more that have registered this year than have in the past. We have more binders that we had to make. The cost of the binders is up. Food cost, as you know, has gone up significantly. We've added another meal this year, and we also have overseas that we've helped financially to be able to get internet access so that they too could participate. And so, and in addition to that, we will be making a $5,000 contribution to CPRS for the rent of the facility. So you see what is before you there. I want to see if this is acceptable to you. If so, I'd like to have a motion to approve the conference budget for this year. Brother Ray moves. Is there a second? Jeremy? If you would please, is there any corrections, any additions, anything you'd like to make on the budget? Okay. Now, before you vote, you're also not just saying that's great that we can spend that kind of money. We're also saying that we are going to support that budget. So those that are in favor of supporting the conference budget of $16,800 for this year, please show your hands. Any opposed? Okay, it passes. I apologize for those online. I'm moving along pretty quick, and if you, okay, thank you. There are no no's. Like to go to the council report now. Brother Richard, would you bring your report from SEAM? I think we are good here, and feel free to turn that around. Oh, Brother Vim?
Do we need to vote on seating?
Oh, thank you very much. Yes. Sorry about that. I got, where's Jay? Okay. Yeah, Jay, would you come down, and we're going to read off the names of the elders that have been credentialed thus far, and then we'll have a vote on that here in just a moment. Jay's on the credentials committee, and share who else was on there too.
Sean Teljohn, who's online, and John Icorn, and I served on that committee. So I'm going to read you a lengthy list. Caleb Demir, Nelson Mahai, Duke Nyakweba, Joseph Ochang, Eric Odita, Eliud Okecha, Peter Okeo, Tom Okeo, John Onegu, Michelle Onyego, Paul Oslu, Michael Akayobi, Samuel Emmanuel Deo, Iro Darrington, Marciano Palmagalas, Makundu Aaron Dixon, Don Agnew, Jason Anderson, Samuel Baggett II, William Barrett, Daniel Beckman, Joseph Burkhart II, Chris Capps, Dane Cedarstrom, Vaughn Cornish, Larry Cottrell, Orville Cottrell Jr., Stephen Cunningham, Mark Dietrich, Frank Dipple, Ray Dodds, Scott Easton, John Eichhorn, Stephen Ferris, Paul Frizethal, Paul Gage, Danny Gould, Terrence Griffith, Jack Hagenson, Jason Hamilton, Jay Havener, Kelvin Henson, Danny Height, Jim Hobbs, Bernard Holler, James Hood, Vim Horn, Robert Emmer, Rick Johansson, David Joyce, Stephen Kropp, Ray Lane, Elsie Lasley, Bruce Levengood, Benjamin McLean, Thomas Mitchell, Alan Mundy, Brian Mundy, John L. Mundy, Richard Neal, James Nolan, Don Norman, Richard Oberg, Howard Parker, Benji Pedersen, Alan Ronk, Dan Schwartz, Paul Sinclair, Aaron Smith, Doug Smith, Jeremy Stevenson, Robert Taylor, Alan Teal, Sean Teljohn, Sean Turner, David Webster, Gary Wilson, and Brian Wilton.
Do we have a total number?
I didn't count them, no.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to take that as a motion from the Credential Committee to submit the names that these are all submitted in Melchizedek priesthood. We have two 70s, Richard Neal and Frank Dipple. We have a high priest and bishop. So anyway, those here will have listed out. Is there any, yes, questions? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I forgot. Dale Stafford and, well, I got it right.
have a couple more names to add. You registered as an elder and okay, I'm sorry, brother, we are going to have to take that off the name right now. We had you down as an elder and you, so,
The two additional names that have been credentialed is Dale Stafford and Larry Clark.
Larry Clark?
Yes.
Okay. Are there others, anybody who's not mentioned? Was there a second to the motion? Howard Parker? Okay. All those in favor, please show your hands. Any opposed? Okay, those are what we have credentialed at this time. Brother Richard? Huh? Yes, he's not on there right now. Yeah, go ahead.
as we were going through the missionary boards and their reports, the one that was not able to be fit in yesterday before we had to close was the SEAM report. So it's the final report. As you can see, I didn't bring up the conference notebook. I brought up the Lord's notebook here with me because I want to make reference to something. But I want to start by sharing a testimony. Yesterday we heard from the ARM, African Restorations Ministry, that with all the work that they're doing, there's about $1,000 that they have in their account. And as I was listening to that, for SEAM, we were down to about $800. Now, when you think of SEAM, Southeast Asia, Australia Mission, and you think of China and India and Nepal, the largest population of people in the world is in that area of the world. And $800 isn't going to, it won't even fly one person over there. But here's the testimony. I came to this conference knowing that we would be so busy this week that there wouldn't be time to give attention to raising of money. And we after we heard the report from ARM and we closed off our meeting, I, as everyone else did, cleared from the sanctuary so that the choir could practice. And as I went out there, the treasurer, Ray Lane, met me. And he said, I have good news for you. Now, I'm not going to give you all the details because those are things that are private, but he said, we've received a donation. And I will just qualify it as reasonably sizable. And Brother John, I assume, is still online with us. Is that he knew that I had put out to our missions that until we would get to May or June with the things that we needed to do, is that we could not approve any requests. But brothers and sisters, yesterday that all changed. Now, I don't say that to pat SEAM on the back because, to be quite honest, we didn't solicit that gift. But what I am doing is I'm coming before you knowing that there are other needs in other places, such as ARM, that I encourage you to consider. As we were challenged last night by Brother Aaron Smith in the service, that we be about the Lord's work, and that includes funding the Lord's work, that you allow that to move upon you. But it was amazing because we had just come from that meeting where we had gone over the missionary bodies of the church. And what took place right thereafter in terms of work, walking about 4 steps from this sanctuary, that God is good. And we should trust that there's not an obstacle. His kingdom is going to come about. And we need to trust that. And we've seen evidence of that even this week. So, having said that, you can read the report on the SEAM area. SEAM is made up primarily at this time of the Philippines, of Nepal, and of Australia. We have 3 members from Philippines who are now living in Australia and associating with the saints down there. We have another member who's moved to Thailand and has started to work, and we are excited about the fact that Thailand might become another field. But here's the difficulty. if the word is to go to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, that means a lot of things. And it doesn't mean just the fact that we dig into our pockets and pull out all of our money, because quite frankly, we don't have enough, and we will not be able to. We could take all the assets of all the restorationists and still not have enough. But what we do know is that God can multiply, as he did with the food for the 5,000. He can multiply that which we would need for taking the ministry to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people. So what I decided is that I was going to just refer to what's written in the booklet. You can read that. You will see testimony in there. But what I wanted to do is to give a bit of a 70 report. And so I'm going to read one verse. The 12 and 70, administering as those prosecuting the work of preaching with a warning voice, so that you would know what's happening in the ministry going out into the world, not just by the 70, but also by those saints who go out there. The work of preaching with a warning voice, baptizing, organizing, and setting in order, then pushing their ministry into other fields until the world is warned. And so that lays before us. Let us move forward. And brothers and sisters, we need to become one for that to be able to happen.
Thank you, Brother Richard. Thank you for the SEAM board. Also, we want to remind the missionary boards, we have the next youth worship service coming up June 28th. It's a Saturday in the afternoon. The time that seemed to work best for worldwide was noon Central Time. I know that makes it awful difficult for the Philippines. It's 1 o'clock in the morning at that point, but they were excited to be able to participate. But if you could notify the boards, if you would notify, just get the word out there. In Australia also, we had 7 countries represented Saturday. We had almost 300 people involved with it. The young people did the service, and the youth from America will do the next one. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also wanted to share with you a testimony. There are sometimes we end up hearing negative things, but this morning I got a message, and it said, I was very touched by the missionary work of the CRE. I felt the loving Spirit of God working, and that same Spirit again in the service last night. I will be sending our tithing to help in the work monthly. God bless his people. And as we look at this and we see the things that are going, we realize that there are sometimes we have struggles and things between us, but if we just keep God as our focus and he number one, all these other things are going to get worked out. So, and one last thing, Richard, if the board could get to us before the end of conference, we'd like to know the membership, number of congregations that we have, number of groups, whatever. We ask the same thing of ARM, if we could get that report out so we have a better understanding of our membership worldwide. We like to move next to our financial report. Brother Ray, would you like to present that? We're going to go to section 2. Today, we're just going to be receiving the report. We're not going to work on the budget or whatever, but we'll receive the report. So if you want to go to section 2.
Page 4.
Page 4. Page 3 and 4, so forth from there. So, yep, page 4 is where he's going to start.
Look at page 4, and at the top of it is the breakdown and the different things for the fiscal year from March 1st of 24 to February 28th of 25. And across the top is the different funds. The reason it's broken out as the way it is that the general fund is basically the budget itself, which is down below. And the upper part is not considered in part of the budget. It's a gathering fund, a patriarch conference fund, missionary, domestic and international arm, LAM, SEAM, GEM. LAM 2 is basically, LAM 2 is a fund that they set up for transferring funds. It was easier than trying to get it out of their own thing, so it's up separate. Youth Ministry Corps Technical Fund, which was set up last year, the FSM Fund, and All Saints. And also there's a group that is not listed up here. I don't see it as a technical fund itself, which was set up last year out of the budget was
Top right,
$5,000.
top right on page 4,
It's up higher?
third one over on the page 4.
Oh, page. Oh, I'm sorry, I did see it. I did read it too. So those are the different funds that are not, they're separate from the budget, which is, the budget is under the general fund. And so you can see the balances in the next column down below, what they were at the ending of February 28th of this year. So that's what they'll carry over for those funds from the general fund over, or starting the gathering fund over to the end, and that's what they'll carry over for this year's budget expense balance. Of course, the general fund also will have that balance of $83,000 in it. If we go back, one page, get it turning. Back on page 3, at the top, you'll see the Bank of America balances of each one. And the next one down below is the, basically the general account broken out, and say those funds that I just talked about are underneath the general, Bank of America general account. So that's why it's, 198,541 is the Bank of America general bank account, and the breakout is what each one of those are, which refers to what I was referring to on the page before, the different breakout of what they are. So, and you'll see a negative in the conference fund, and what that is from basically when we started doing it, and a couple of years there was a negative account, so we haven't really balanced that out yet, but that's part of the thing where last year we had a positive for the conference of $1,500. So, it's starting to carry out, and it was to say last year we had that, the balance of $1,500 in the conference fund, and it was praying that this year we'll have more of a positive again so it'll carry over. Eventually that'll break out where we'll have a positive eventually in the conference fund itself. But anything that we have a negative, like in a conference fund, it comes out of the general account itself. So that's where we are there. So I think that's about it for there until we get to the budget itself of what we had last year and what we were proposing this year.
Thank you, Brother Ray. I want to just address a couple of things with you so that you all are aware. Last year, when we moved the domestic missionary outreach council and international and the youth missionary corps out of the general operating fund to a separate fund, it modified it from $80,246 to $74,147. So if you have last year's too and you're trying to track it, that's the reason for the difference there, is we pulled those things out. Brother Ray?
I just want to make a point on those. The funds that are not in the budgeting thing is that, especially the international, domestic, Youth Missionary Corps, Technical, of course, FSM, and All Saints. There's two ways of making contributions to that. One is by check, can send to the conference office, the P.O. box number, or online. And what you may want to keep in mind is it's very convenient for online, but what you make as a donation, if you don't pay the fee, then your donation is reduced. So, you know, if you've got some of the fees are anywhere from a few $100s to, well, a few dollars to a few $100 for that online contribution. So even though it's more convenient, maybe spending 70-some cents or so right now on a first-class mail envelope would be more beneficial to you and especially to these different groups itself. That comes to the P.O. box. I take and make the deposit and put it in perspective areas where they are. And basically what I do at home, make it easier for me, because they want to know sometimes, I have a running record on a separate sheet for each one where I have a deposit and I have an expenditure. So I don't have to go back through and try and look at envelopes and this and that. So I keep it that way for those different ones. It's a lot easier for me to do it.
Thank you. Brother Vim? Yeah, please.
Just a question in regards to the Youth Missionary Corps. Is that now primarily for the youth, a use of the Youth Council? Is that why the Youth Council is no longer part of the general operation? Or is that still separate for the original purposes that it was intended? I couldn't remember.
The youth, Ray, the Youth Missionary Corps, is that coming under the Youth Council? I thought that was separate. Okay. So,
Yeah, so the Youth Council is not represented in the budget, and so I'm wondering, yeah.
okay, so to clarify, that's why it's not included in the budget. So the Youth Council is also, this is not Youth Missionary Corps, this is Youth Ministry Council. Okay.
And so that's
That's there.
funding for the,
For the youth.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
On page 4 of 10, I got a question, Ray. It says general operations financial statements by funds, March 1, 25 through February 28, 25. Should that be March 1 of 24?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep, that's a
Yeah.
typo.
yep.
Thank
Just the
you.
wrong finger on the key, wrong key.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to clarify is if you go to page 3 of 10, sometimes we have a hard time understanding. We see, okay, my goodness, our general account, we've got $198,000 in, but if you go down to the fund balances below, it breaks all of those down to where we see that our general operating, we've got $83,000 in, okay? And all those other funds that are there, that's that. We've heard about ARM, and that they have $1,000 is what was shared yesterday, and used to. And so the other option may be that if Living Hope buys it, then we can rent it from them too. So there's a lot of different options.
Yeah, I talked to Ken at church yesterday. The meeting you were hoping he was going to have with his board tonight, I know is not going to happen.
Okay.
But I believe the board that owns the building in the front of the Living Home property is going to be going up for sale. And I would say probably in response to you, it'd be sooner rather than later.
Okay. So let's kind of break this down into some bite-sized pieces. Are we interested in, let's say, they would owner finance? I don't know if you're interested in us buying a facility if it's not owner finance, or maybe you are. Are we interested at all in going in debt and buying a facility? Or would you rather keep renting? Right now, we're paying out like $1,100 a month in rent. $1,130. Oh, do you are you interested in in buying a place, going into debt, or maybe we just send out the word and raise the money, and or we want to keep renting.
I guess my question would be, what the advantage that we've been talking about, the building in front of Living Hope, well, you mentioned another building, advantages, disadvantages between those two facilities. Is one cheaper than the other? That sort of thing.
One might be cheaper. I have not talked to Dr. Zur as far as price goes. It is smaller in square footage. The one at Living Hope, we were talking about the entire top floor, which is, they said 3,000 feet. Huh? About 3,000 feet, which is less than what we have right now. And so, yeah, come on down. So anyway, the Living Hope would probably be more the size, I'm sorry, what is that building called? Or I'm just calling it the building in front of Living Hope. There you go. So it's in front of there, so it's just, they've got more square footage, but it also depends on like the Hymn Society. If the Hymn Society said, no, we don't want to keep renting, or we don't want to drive all the way to Living Hope, then that's going to make a difference on how much footage that we need. They're both basically the same. One's right over here on Truman Road, the other one's over at Living Hope, so they're not 5 minutes apart. So, Jacob?
Just want to let everyone know, I do know for a fact the reason why the JCRB moved out of that building, Dr. Zur's building, is because it had major leak issues in their roof, and it would have cost a lot of money.
Okay.
There's a lot more parking with Living Hope.
Yes, yes. Now, if we were to buy the Living Hope building, there would be some asphalt requirements that would have to be done. The city would require that. So back to my first question, are we interested in buying something, or do you want to continue renting?
I mean, I guess I would need to see what the payment would be. I mean, to me, if I'm making payments, it might as well be getting some equity out of it and ending up with a building that, have something else with it. So if the monthly payments are $1,130, I would think that doing the payments on something that you're owning is better than something in renting. And also with the contract we have, it's 10 years, but I don't know how far into that we are, but that means that in a few years, the rent there may go astronomical, or have to find someplace else anyway. So if there's some place that's conveniently located, close to Living Hope, where we have people there to kind of watch over the building when we're not there, and that kind of thing, I think that would be ideal. And if Living Hope is interested in buying the building and we could rent from them for a similar amount of money, I mean, that would be my second choice, but whenever we're paying, might as well get equity.
Brother Lim?
Yeah, I guess in keeping with Doug's response, it depends. So I think really what we just need, Brian, is more information. And if we can revisit this, if someone has some time to sit down and put some pen to paper, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Okay. Well, we will get you some more information on that. Bob and I met with them on Saturday. We'll also check on the roof situation at Dr. Zur's place. We'll try to get some more information. It's important for us to just kind of understand. I mean, yeah, we completely agree. If we can do it within the amount that we're paying in rent, we can go ahead and buy a place, and why not? And also have some assets involved. But we also, there are the potential of renting the other parts of the facility out. The other neat thing about the building at Living Hope is one of the resolutions that the quorums are going to discuss is a gathering council. And they have a portion of this building that is set up as an apartment. And so it would be nice to be able to somebody gathering in, they could stay there a month or two until they find a place and so forth. So there are a lot of things that I think that could fit into the bigger picture. But we'll get you some more information on that as we go forward. Okay, real quick then, as far as the missionary boards, we'll go to page 6 of section 2. I don't know if there's anyone here from ARM. All we're going to do is receive their budgets right now, but you'll see the ARM budget there, their expenses, what they had last time. I'm not understanding your question, Kevin.
We have a text calling for someone to submit a youth funding whenever that's in order.
Yes, we'll do that tomorrow, so we can make modifications or what we want to do there. Okay, so 6 and 7, we have the ARM budget. On 8, we have the LAM budget. On 9, we have the SEAM budget. 10, we have the gym budget and also Freedom Stewardship Ministries budget. So I'll give you an opportunity to look at those tonight or whatever, and we can go back over those tomorrow whenever we vote on them. I also want to let you know that there is a resolution that the quorums will be discussing too, as far as participating under the umbrella of the CRE. I don't mind telling you this. We have tried for years to get a LAM written report, and we haven't been able to get one. We get their budget, and we handle the finance side and the 501c3, but we have not been getting anyone to come and bring reports, and so you'll see a resolution there. I don't know that we really actually told the missionary boards if they're going to be facilitating with the CRE, what that means or what's required of them. But so what we did was come up with some things for you to look at there for us to discuss. So that being said, we're done with the finance part. We want to move to the nominations. You'll notice we are trying to get a lot of things done here early from a business standpoint so that we can concentrate on the other things of why we've really gathered here this week. So if you'll go next, we're going to take nominations for officers. We're in section 3. On page 2, it shows what we had for the officers this last year, and each council also. On page 3, it is our nomination form of what we are going to, what openings there are there. I want to make a couple of corrections here on the Women's Council. Kristen Barrett is not going to be able to serve this next year. And so if you'll mark that one off, and they have nominations that they will be presenting here in just a moment. So what we're going to do today is we'll simply take nominations, and tomorrow we will vote. If something is not, if we don't have something filled, then we'll be able to add more tomorrow. Only thing I ask, I hope, and I sent out information to the various councils, I hope that they've talked to people in advance, but we'll start with the conference officers. Okay, Chairman, we have a nomination for chairman. Brother Howard?
I would like to nominate 70 Richard Neal.
Okay. Are there other nominations? Brother Larry?
Nominate Jeremy Stevenson.
Jeremy Stevenson has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Okay, we have Richard Neal and Jeremy Stevenson. Secretary, are there nominations for secretary?
I'll let someone else take it.
Jason is going to be able to share the responsibility with somebody else this time. So we need somebody else to be secretary. Who would like to nominate someone for secretary? Huh?
If Jeremy's not the chairman, would he be interested in this?
Well, we'll see. Okay, online, I'm sorry you did not hear. Jason Anderson has been secretary this last year, and he won't be able to do it this next year. So we have, we're open for nominations for secretary. Your name was thrown out, Jeremy. Do you want to? No. Okay. Anyone else, nominations for secretary? We're going to, let's put some prayer to that. No, he did not. Right now, we do not have anyone for secretary. Let's put some prayer and talk to some people tonight, today, and we'll make a nomination tomorrow. Treasurer. Brother Larry?
I nominate Brother Ray Lane.
Okay, Ray Lane said he would do it for one more year. But is there anyone else who'd like to be nominated? Okay, then we'll have that nomination's closed. We have assistant treasurer. This is really important position, so they can be prepared for next year. Who we would like to nominate for assistant treasurer? Did somebody talk to David? Bob? Do you know if anybody talked to David about, is it David? Dave. I left him a message, but I haven't heard back. Okay. Okay. Assistant treasurer. Okay, we're going to deal with that tomorrow too. So let's get hold of some people for assistant treasurer. Historian, last year was Danny Height. Anybody? Huh?
I nominate Danny again.
Okay, is Danny here today? Have you talked to him? Okay. That's okay. At our congregation, if you nominate somebody and they say no later, then you get it stuck with it. So there you go. So, okay. Anyone else? Any other nominations? Okay. Let's do the coordinating council. We have requirement of 2 being from foreign fields. But we have 5 that are up for reelection or coming off anyway. And so does the coordinating council have any suggestions? Anybody you want to nominate? Anybody else want to nominate too? Come on down.
I would nominate Doug Smith and Eric Udita. That's for the foreign mission field, 2 gentlemen.
Well, we'll vote for them right on with everyone else. And if they are elected, that would count for the 2. Is there other nominations for the coordinating council? Holy smokes, folks, let's wake up here. Did we not contact people, or where are we at? We have 3 more slots open. I've never seen a time that we had less than on coordinating council. So, Brother Richard?
I would like to have that position that Doug is occupying, is that since he's willing to serve, be moved over to the general coordinating council. And then I would like to, in the intervening time between now and tomorrow, if there's not another nomination, seek Brother John or Brother Dio or someone to fill the international slot.
So how that's going to work is that the top 5 are going to be elected, and hopefully 2 of those will be foreign. So if we have 3 or 4 even that are foreign, then that's fine. It's just a limitation that we have to have at least 2.
But then Doug could.
He could continue to serve also, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Brother Vim, we're not limited on only 2 foreign, right? There could be more than that. Is that correct? Do you remember?
Yeah, my understanding is that we said there has to be at least 2, and you can have,
Okay,
as many more,
okay,
but at least 2.
that's what I thought. Okay.
So the rub is going to be if, depending on how the vote for chairman goes, then we'll have another open slot on the council, the coordinating council.
Yep. No, that's correct. If Richard's elected, then he'll come off, and then there's another slot open on the coordinating council. So, do we have other nominations for the coordinating council? I do. Okay.
I nominate Brother Howard.
Howard Parker has been. Howard, you accept that nomination? Any other nominations? Okay, then tomorrow we're going to need to bring more nominations. We will not limit it to only 2 more. So we will open up for nominations again tomorrow before we have elections. On the domestic outreach, we have several openings, and even as was shared yesterday, we could use more. And so, do we have those that would like to be nominated for the domestic outreach? Brother Tom's not here today. Is Frank online? Okay. Brother Frank, do you know if we've got nominations for those for the domestic outreach? Okay. I'm gonna postpone that too. We're having a problem of getting him patched in here. And Youth Council, these here are the names that the Youth Council submitted. So I just want to open up if there are any other nominations. The ones that you see here are what the Youth Council submitted. Last year, we didn't have any. We threw everybody on there that they had. This year, they submitted who they wanted. I told them that it's got to be opened up, so if there's somebody else wants to be nominated, we could do that. Otherwise, what we will do is we will vote on these 8, and they will have 2-year terms and 1-year terms. That way we get on a general cycle with them. I was really happy with what the Youth Council's done. So is there any other nominations for Youth Council? Then I'm going to declare that one closed. Did the missionary boards do as requested and bring their names for their 2 representatives to the International Council? Okay, Publications Council. You got nominations for the Publication Council. Jason?
Just tell you.
Huh?
I just say them from here.
Sure.
April Smith.
April Smith.
Jason Hamilton.
Jason Hamilton. That's it. Okay, we have one more slot. Is there anyone else would like to volunteer or be on Publication Council? We can always fill those slots later. And also, if there's another one you want to add to tomorrow, that would be fine. Brother Benji?
Sorry for being a little late here. Sandra Moser from New Hampshire has said she would be willing, and we possibly have another. So I know we have a 7-person council. We'll possibly consider asking to have some additional people as editors to come on and join us. So I do have a commitment from Sandra, Saundra Moser, Moser.
Very good. Okay. Women's Council, would you like to come and put your nominations in first?
We'd like to present the names.
Just a second.
We'd like to present the names of Amy Burke, Barb Capps, Karen Parker.
Hold on a second. Amy Burke.
Barb Capps, Karen Parker, Monica Rush, Angie Goff, Michelle Turner, and Jennifer Shrunk.
So they have 4 openings. 5, I'm sorry, because of Kristen, yes. Shrunk,
I have a nomination.
okay.
Jan Ellen Seastrom.
Just a second. I just want to make sure everybody heard the ones that the Women's Council nominated. Amy Burke, Angie Goff, Monica Rush, Michelle Turner, and Jennifer Shrunk. And you want to add someone?
Yes, Jan Ellen Seastrom.
Okay. Any other nominations? Barb and Karen are remaining. They're already on for 1 year left. Yes.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Last year, at the 2024 conference, there was a decision made. Jason had been our liaison, and the resolution was made for the Women's Council to be the ones to present the names, and then for them, after prayerful consideration, and then to be brought forth, to be voted upon on the day when you vote. So,
Do you have that handy last year, Jason?
Yes.
Okay, what got passed?
So,
Let's get you a mic.
what was passed was that the size of the Women's Council be limited to 7 members unless the council determines more help is needed to accomplish the work and request an increase in the number of members. Prior to the conference, the council chair shall inform the conference chairman of the names the council would like to nominate to fill the open positions.
Okay. And that did happen. They shared with me who they wanted to fill those positions. I guess what didn't get clarified was could anybody else be nominated, but is that your understanding, Jason, that they would be the ones that select who's going to be on the Women's Council?
I believe we wanted to.
It needs that mic again. Sorry.
I don't see any thing in the final resolution that would say that. I know that was the intent, but I know also I remember there was some pushback about the conference wanting to be able to have the final say, but all of that was kind of left off the final resolution as passed.
Okay. Yeah, Barb.
the other 2 names, are those for Karen and I? Do they just stay on there?
Your 2 names to stay on. Those are just for the 5 vacancies. Howard?
I'm a little concerned about some issues going on here, because traditionally, since I've been here, the women always brought forth their people, and then the conference was able to sustain it. I know the women pray and all that about who, because they want to be a cohesive unit, and sometimes just try to throw someone in there, it can bring issues up. But traditionally, they've always brought the 7 names, and we just sustained it.
I think that's what I'm going to determine unless there's objection. This will be the only council that ends up somewhat appointing their own, but we do the same somewhat with the youth council. They bring who they suggest, and I'm going to, without objection, we'll limit it to who the Women's Council brings for their suggestions based off of the resolution and the intent of the resolution last year. However, I want to counsel the Women's Council to not limit yourself. You got somebody that wants to work, let's put them to work. And sometimes we have a tendency to well, we know how these ones here work, and somebody else might bring something more to the table, and that's not just limited to the Women's Council. Any council I would try to encourage you to everybody to just involve more and more people. We need more laborers, and if something happens to somebody and somebody comes off, then we aren't in the same situation as what we are here, and we can't fill councils. So without objection, then I'm going to go that way, if that's acceptable for everyone. Brother Vim?
Yeah, just so we don't have this confusion going forward, I appreciate the ruling of the chair, but I think sometime maybe we can codify that as a body, saying this is what was meant, so that there isn't this confusion year.
Sure. And if we could, somebody maybe can bring a resolution tomorrow, just something, a simple motion that, unless you're ready right now, we certainly can.
If you're accepting a motion, I'll make one. I move that the intent that was expressed in the resolution that was passed last year meant that the Women's Council would have the purview to nominate, and we would sustain as a conference. And if there's a second, I'll speak to that real quickly.
Larry seconds it.
Yeah, I think this is a unique council. I do agree with your council that they not just become a closed group, but they work together and they do things together. And if this was the intent and where we were at, just clarifying that in the record, I think would be helpful at this time.
Thank you. So the motion before you, basically just clarifying the intent of the resolution last year, that the Women's Council would make their nominations after prayerful consideration, and that we would sustain those nominations. Is there any other discussion on that? No, this here would be because of it would be tied to that. That's from last year's nomination, last year's resolution. In there, any other discussion? Those in favor of the resolution, please, motion, show your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. We're waiting for those online and online passes also. Okay, Education Council, Brother Vim, you got any nominations?
Thank you, Brother Chairman. Yes, we would nominate Andrew King and Aaron Pressler, and would welcome two more to come forward. But I also have a proposal that I would like to just encourage. I'd like to have a member from the Aaronic Council participate on this council. So maybe we could just have one of those slots be an Aaronic Council member.
Would that be for number 6?
Yep.
Okay. Any Aaronic priesthood here particularly want to serve on the technology, on the Education Council? Or did you have it?
I would be willing, once that council is formed, for them just to talk amongst themselves and say, this is who's willing to. I'd much rather have a willing person.
There, I agree. Okay. Okay. I'm going to word it as a motion here, and I'll see if somebody wants to move that there would be a 6th position for the Education Council, and it be tied, it would be
Tethered to the Aaronic.
it would be appointed by the Aaronic Council. Is that okay? Is there?
7 positions.
Huh?
7 positions.
Okay, where am I missing one then? Or you just were short one?
We're short ones.
Okay. Okay, we need, yeah, okay. So, are there any other nominations for the Education Council? Yeah, okay. No. Yes. Okay, we got to deal with that motion first, because it's on, was there who would like to move that as a motion? Jeremy moved it, was there a second? Doug seconds it. The motion is that, that one member on the Education Council would be appointed by, from the Aaronic priesthood. The Aaronic Council would appoint that one person.
Selected by and from.
Huh?
Selected by and from the
Okay.
Aaronic.
By and from the Aaronic Council. Is there any discussion on that? And let's get a microphone over here for him. If we got, do we got another mic? No? Okay, we'll get one later. Okay, yes.
So that Aaronic Council member, are they going to be on both councils, or are they going to move from Aaronic to Education?
No, they can be on both.
They're on both.
Yeah. The only one we got a limitation on is on the Coordinating Council. You can't be on two councils if you're on the Coordinating Council.
They can choose someone not on the Aaronic Council.
That's correct. Yep. Okay. Let's vote on that motion first. Is there, all those in favor, please show your hands. Yep, well, you got a question?
I have a question. The way that's written.
Confirm that,
From the Aaronic Council, I think they
Just from the Aaronic order, we should say, right?
Would be appointed by the Aaronic Council.
Here, Ben's coming up.
I was hoping that it would be someone from the Aaronic Council, just so that we could have some continuity, and
Yeah.
if there's materials they're wanting and can help, so it was just to bring that together, so that was my hope.
so it'd be written correctly. Okay, there's the motion before you. Any other questions? All those in favor, please show your hands. Any opposed? There is none. Thank you. And is there any other, I'm sorry, online? All yeses on online too. Any other nominations for the Education Council? Since we're bringing others back tomorrow, and since today is still day one, let's, we'll see if we have more tomorrow. Aaronic Council, you have nominations for that?
So I've gotten communication from the following men would be willing to accept serving in the roles the next year. But before I give those names, we met our last Aaronic Council meeting. We would like to expand the slots to 11. So let you guys decide and see if that's appropriate. But I'll go ahead and provide the names now. Chris Cunningham, Stephen Henson, Dustin Mason.
Slow down.
Chris Cunningham, Stephen Henson,
Okay.
Dustin Mason, Henry Trickett, Wilbur Wilson, Sam McLean, James Andrews, Johnny McGowan,
Okay.
and I'm willing to let my name stand as well.
Okay. Mark, I've got a question for you, because we just have this total rollover every year, and it's not set up like the other ones with 1 year and 2 year. Is that how the council would like it to be that way, or would you rather have so many that's getting a 2-year term and then you keep the consistency? What do you guys want?
Well, we haven't discussed that, but probably some of those as 2 years probably would be helpful for, the flow of transition over time.
Okay. Okay, Brother Bam?
Yeah, I think traditionally there hasn't been a limit to the number on this council. So the more the merrier until you guys feel that it's becoming unmanageable is what I would say. So, and I think it would be helpful to elect a portion for 2-year terms. And maybe the council this year that's elected can actually identify who those would be, and then the next year, that would be something that could be reported out.
Yep.
And that would be handled that way.
Thank you. So your council would like to have how many on there? 11. Okay. What I'd like for you to do is tomorrow, bring to us which ones would have a 2-year term and which ones would have a 1-year term. We'll submit that as a whole group, like we're going to do youth council, and then we can vote on it that way this year, and then next year, the 1-year terms will be coming off, and we can rotate it that way. Okay?
And one other thing, so if you notice, I didn't give 11 names, but the goal is really that we would ideally like to eventually see an Aaronic member from each congregation be a part of that. That would be our goal.
Well, and keep in mind, when you're talking about a council, it gets kind of difficult, the bigger the council gets, but maybe you can have some sub-councils too. Jeremy, do you have a question? Okay. Okay, we'll bring that to us tomorrow then. Are there any other nominations that we've thought of that we haven't got yet? Brother Vim?
Just as a point of information, so what we've done is we certainly have a council that handles business, but we invite whoever has an interest to come and participate with us, so that would be another way to do that. And we call it the education committee part.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something I'd like to see probably on the domestic outreach too, where we have 4, 5, 6 states, we can have sub-people that maybe take certain ones. Brother Benji?
Missed some of the conversation, so I apologize. When there is a proposal, resolution number 3, to form a gathering council, if we do end up passing this, it would be helpful for us to already start thinking about names that would be good to put on that. So I just want to point that out for your attention so that we can start preparing and getting some names for nomination.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Then real quickly here, I want to clarify some things on the quorums. First of all, on your badges here, you should have your quorum numbers on there. For those of you who got your name tags, they're also back in the back if you haven't got yours yet. But if you go to section 1, page 6 and page 7, because of our quantity, we had to make some adjustments, and we have a typo here that we want to clarify with you. So the page on page 7 is correct for locations. You'll see some changes on the left side. So quorum 1 is going to be in A, the sanctuary here. Quorum 2, these are Melchizedek quorums, is going to be in D, the gymnasium. Okay? The Aaronic priesthood are going to meet in MZ3, which is E. Now, if you would please, we need to go up this way, and it's right over there in the corner. So the Aaronic priesthood, that's going to be a lot easier for you to get to than trying to go up this way and around. They've got that area. So please go into MZ3, Aaronic priesthood, go up the stairs here and over if you would. Members quorum is going to be in C, which is in MZ1. Best way to get to MZ1 is through this door in the gymnasium and straight up the stairs and around the corner, and it's over in this corner over there, so you can see that too. We'll help you find these places. We only had 3 youth register, so we will not have a youth quorum. They'll go to the members quorum. If you would now go to section 3. Where our resolutions are. We have only 3 resolutions that are before the quorums, but I would really, we need to come together with 1 or 2 questions that we're going to present to the Lord Thursday night. This cannot just be something we take lightly or something that we just handle, throw something out there. What I want you to really think about is what is it that is affecting the church so much right now that we need direction, we need an answer for. You know, if you remember back in 1840s and early 50s, there was such division that was happening in the church and different ones springing up, and the question that they wanted to find out was, polygamy correct? I really want you to, and you've been encouraged to be fasting and praying and thinking about what is it that we need to bring before the Lord. And so bring your ideas, and let's make sure we are together on this. I think it would be marvelous if we all ended up hearing reports, and this is the question we feel like we need to ask, and it just happens to all be the same. So let's really set our own things aside, and let's really, as a quorum, come and find out what question we want to present to the Lord. We also have the missionary boards affiliated with the CRE resolution. You can look at that. And the proposed gathering council, to add a gathering council. You can deal with those however you want to, but let's, those ones there need to be dealt with. If there's resolutions that are in addition to that, you can present those, and we'll submit them to the elders' quorums for their discussion, and see what we can do there. So please, let's spend the time that we need on the quorum sessions. So after our lunch break here, we will have our class and response time, and then a short break, and we head into our quorum sessions. So if you have any questions about any of those things, I'll be glad to help you. Do we have any questions right now? Okay. We have lunch that is ready for us. Brother Don, could you come and bring a closing prayer and a blessing on the food? There'll be a box down there if you want to make a donation for the lunch. We would appreciate it. For those online, I thank you. I'm sorry for the struggles we've had, and we will be back shortly in our quorums.
Our most kind and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we've been able to come together and spend in the business of this conference. And I would ask that your Spirit would continue to be present, and that you would lead and direct as we would continue even throughout the week, that we might be doers of the word, and that you would bless us in our efforts here, that we might be able to continue bringing that message of hope. Also ask that you would bless the food that has been prepared, and those who have spent the time doing so, that you would bless them, and that this food might be received with thanksgiving, and that the blessing that you would pour out upon it might bless our bodies. And this I pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all very much.